Viktor Kozlov's hand closed around Sofia Martinez's throat, lifting her off the floor. Her feet kicked uselessly. Her fingers clawed at his wrist. The restaurant fell silent, everyone too terrified to move. "You want to know what happens when people don't pay?" Kozlov's accent made the words sharp as broken glass. He squeezed harder. Sofia's face turned purple. In the corner booth, Commander Mac McAllister's hand stopped halfway to his coffee cup. Under the table, Rex, 85 pounds of trained German Shepherd, went rigid, a low growl building in his chest. Kozlov had made his first mistake. He'd hurt someone in front of a Navy SEAL. His second mistake would be not letting go when Mac stood up. Before we begin this story, hit that subscribe button and stay with us until the very end. Comment below what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let's dive in. The afternoon heat in San Diego pressed down like a physical weight. Commander James McAllister sat in the back corner of La Cocina del Mar, the same booth he'd occupied for the past hour, nursing coffee that had gone cold 20 minutes ago. He didn't mind cold coffee. He'd drunk worse, had eaten worse, had slept in worse places than the $40 a night motel where he'd been staying since his medical retirement paperwork cleared 3 weeks ago. At 35, Mac looked like what he was, a man built by necessity rather than vanity. Short, dark brown hair, regulation cut out of habit more than requirement, broad shoulders that filled out his Navy working uniform Type 3, the digital camouflage pattern in greens and browns, marking him as military even out of context. His hands were scarred, the kind of scars that came from work, not accidents, and his eyes, gray-blue like winter ocean, tracked every movement in the restaurant with the automated precision of someone trained to assess threats before they materialized. Under the table, Rex lay perfectly still. The German Shepherd's tan and black coat gleamed under the fluorescent lights. At 5 years old, Rex was in his prime. Powerful chest, alert amber eyes, ears that swiveled toward every sound but never betrayed alarm. He wore a vest marked "Military Working Dog, Do Not Disturb" in reflective letters. Rex wasn't just Mac's companion. He was Mac's responsibility, his partner. The only survivor besides Mac, from a mission in Afghanistan that had gone wrong in ways Mac still couldn't fully process. When the IED had detonated, when shrapnel had torn through Mac's leg and ended his SEAL career, Rex had dragged him to cover, stayed with him through the medevac, refused to leave even when the Navy tried to reassign him. They'd retired together, formally and paperwork-wise, but neither of them knew how to actually retire. Mac's phone buzzed. Text from his sister, his only living family since their parents died in a car accident 8 years ago. "You eating, or just drinking coffee and pretending that counts as a meal?" Mac typed back with one hand. "Eating. Restaurant in San Diego. Mexican seafood." "Liar. You're drinking coffee and staring at the menu, trying to figure out what's cheapest." She knew him too well. Mac looked at the menu. Menudo was $6.99. Everything else started at $12. His wallet held exactly $47, enough for the week if he was careful. Medical retirement pay didn't kick in for another month. Until then, he was living on savings that had run thin. A young woman approached his table. Her name tag read Sophia in handwritten script. She was maybe 22, petite, with dark hair pulled into a messy bun that humidity had defeated hours ago. Freckles scattered across pale brown skin. Dark circles under hazel eyes that worked hard to maintain kindness despite obvious exhaustion. "More coffee?" Her voice was soft, almost apologetic for interrupting. Mac nodded. "And the menudo, please." Sophia smiled, the real kind, not the service industry automatic version. "Good choice. My father makes the best in San Diego. I'm biased, but it's true. She glanced down at Rex. Most servers ignored service dogs, trained not to engage. But Sophia knelt, slowly, respectfully, making eye contact with Mac first. May I? He's friendly, off-duty. Sophia extended her hand. Rex sniffed once, then his tail wagged, a rare display of approval. She scratched behind his ears with the practiced touch of someone who'd grown up with dogs. Beautiful boy. German Shepherd? Yeah, military working dog. Retired, like me. Thank you for your service, both of you. She stood, still smiling. I'll get your order in. She disappeared into the kitchen. Mac heard rapid Spanish, Sophia talking to someone, probably her father. The tone was affectionate, familiar. Family business. The kind that survived on thin margins and thinner hope. The restaurant was small, maybe 15 tables, half of them occupied by local workers on lunch break, construction guys with sun-damaged skin, a couple of older women sharing plates, a family with 2 young kids who kept dropping crayons. Working-class neighborhood, the kind where people knew each other's names and troubles. Mac liked it. Reminded him of the diner near the base in Virginia Beach, where he'd eaten breakfast every morning for 3 years. Where the owner knew his order before he sat down. Where being a SEAL didn't matter as much as being a regular customer who tipped well and didn't cause trouble. The door opened. The energy in the restaurant shifted instantly, like air pressure dropping before a storm. 3 men entered. The first was massive, 6'4", built like violence was his full-time job. Expensive suit that couldn't hide the predator underneath. Blonde hair slicked back. Cold blue eyes that assessed the room like a tax collector evaluating assets. 2 more men followed, smaller but no less dangerous. Hands in jacket pockets, suggesting concealed weapons. The big man didn't wait to be seated. He chose the center table, the one with the best sightlines to the door and the kitchen. Territorial. Dominant. Mac's training kicked in automatically. Threat assessment. 3 hostile actors, 2 visibly armed. Tactical positioning suggests experienced operators or organized crime muscle. Civilians present. 14 adults, 2 children. Exits. Front door, kitchen access to rear alley, bathroom window possibly viable for emergency egress. Rex sensed the shift too. His body tightened under the table. Not aggressive yet, but ready. An older man emerged from the kitchen, late 50s, gray hair, kind face lined with years of hard work. He wore an apron stained with red sauce. When he saw the big man, his expression collapsed into fear. Mr. Kozlov, the older man's voice shook. I wasn't expecting you today. Clearly. The big man, Kozlov, spoke with a heavy Eastern European accent that made every word sound like a threat. Otherwise you would have my money ready, yes? I have most of it. Just need 1 more week, I swear. 1 more week. Kozlov's laugh was ugly. Roberto, you said that last month, and the month before. My patience is not infinite, and it is very, very expensive. Roberto, the older man, Sophia's father based on the resemblance, twisted the dish towel in his hands. Business has been slow. The tourist season, I don't care about your excuses. I care about my money. Kozlov leaned back, making himself comfortable. $20,000. That's what you borrowed. With interest, you now owe me $35,000. I want it. Today. I don't have $35,000. The original loan was supposed to be... The original terms were clear. You signed the papers. You understood the interest. And now you owe me. Kozlov's voice hardened. Unless you'd like to renegotiate? Roberto's face went pale. Please, just give me 2 more weeks. I can get you $10,000 by then. 10,000 is not 35,000. Sophia appeared from the kitchen carrying Mac's bowl of menudo. She froze when she saw Kozlov, the bowl trembling in her hands. Kozlov's eyes locked onto her. His expression shifted, from anger to something predatory. Roberto. Kozlov's voice went soft, which somehow made it more dangerous.
You never mentioned you had such a beautiful daughter.
Roberto moved between Kozlov and Sophia. Leave her out of this. This is business between us.
Is it? Because I'm looking at an asset you haven't declared.
Kozlov stood, towering over Roberto.
Your daughter. How old?
She's not part of this deal.
22,
Kozlov answered his own question, eyes still on Sophia.
College student? Working to help Daddy's failing restaurant?
Sophia found her voice.
I'm pre-med at UC San Diego.
This restaurant is my father's life work, and we're going to pay you back. Just give us time. Time is money, little bird, and your father has wasted too much of both. Kozlov took a step toward her. Roberto grabbed his arm. Don't you touch her. Kozlov's backhand was casual, almost lazy. It caught Roberto across the face hard enough to spin him. The older man crashed into a table, plates shattering. Sophia screamed, "Papa!" She rushed toward her father. Kozlov caught her arm, yanked her back with brutal strength.
Let me go!
Sophia struggled, trying to pull free. I think we can renegotiate after all. Kozlov's grip tightened. Your father owes me 35,000. But I'm a reasonable man. I can be flexible about payment terms. If you're willing to be flexible too. The implication was clear. Disgusting. The kind of offer that turned Sophia from a person into currency. Roberto tried to stand, blood running from his nose.
You bastard!
One of Kozlov's men moved fast, kicked Roberto's legs out from under him. The older man went down hard. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, not from pain, but from helpless rage.
You can't do this! This is illegal! This is
business. Kozlov pulled her closer. And you, little bird, are about to learn how business works in the real world. He grabbed her throat with one massive hand. Sophia's eyes went wide. She clawed at his wrist, gasping. You see this, Roberto? Kozlov squeezed, lifting Sophia slightly off her feet. This is what happens when people waste my time. This is what happens when they make me come collect what's already mine. Sophia's face turned red, then darker. Her kicks grew weaker. The restaurant was frozen. The construction workers looked at their plates. The older women gripped each other's hands, but didn't move. The family with young children. The father pulled his kids close, shielding their eyes, but he didn't stand up. Fear has gravity. It pulls people down, keeps them seated, tells them that intervention means becoming the next victim. But Mac McAllister had spent 14 years as a Navy SEAL, specifically training to override fear, to act when others froze, to step forward when every instinct screamed to step back. Under the table, Rex's growl vibrated through the floor, low, controlled, dangerous. The sound of a weapon being armed. Mac set down his coffee cup, stood slowly. His movement drew every eye in the restaurant. But Mac's focus was singular, total. He looked at Kozlov, at Sophia's purpling face, at the precise angle of Kozlov's thumb against her carotid artery. 30 seconds until unconsciousness. 2 minutes until brain damage. 4 minutes until death. Mac had seen men strangled before, in combat, in training simulations, in the aftermath of violence that left bodies cold on foreign soil. He knew exactly what he was looking at, and exactly how long Sophia had. Let her go. Mac's voice cut through the silence. Not loud, not aggressive, just absolutely certain. Kozlov's head turned. He saw a man in military uniform, Navy working uniform, digital camouflage,
Nothing particularly impressive about his size or stance. His eyes dismissed Mac in a heartbeat.
"This doesn't concern you, sailor. Sit down."
I said let her go. Kozlov laughed, a genuine amused sound.
"Or what? You'll file a complaint? Call the police?"
He squeezed Sophia's throat harder. She made a strangled sound, her eyes rolling back. "This is a private business matter, and you are not involved." Mac took one step forward. Just one. But something in the quality of his movement, the predatory economy, the complete absence of hesitation, made Kozlov's smile falter slightly. "You have 3 seconds to release her," Mac said. "After that, I make you release her. Your choice."
"You're threatening me?"
Kozlov's face darkened.
"Do you know who I am?"
"Don't care." 3.
"I own this neighborhood. I own the police. I own—"
2. Kozlov's men moved, hands going to concealed weapons. But they hesitated, uncertain. Something about Mac, the absolute calm, the professional assessment in his eyes, suggested this wasn't a random Good Samaritan having a hero moment. This was something else, something they recognized from instinct. A predator. A real one.
"You're making a very big mistake," Kozlov hissed.
1. Kozlov shoved Sophia away. She collapsed, gasping, hands clutching her bruised throat. Roberto scrambled to her side, pulling her behind him. "There." Kozlov spread his hands, false reasonableness. "See? No problem. Everyone calm down. You can go back to your cheap coffee now, hero." But Mac didn't move, didn't sit. His eyes stayed locked on Kozlov. "You're going to leave this restaurant," Mac said. "You're not going to come back. And you're going to forget this family owes you anything." The restaurant held its collective breath. Kozlov stared at Mac. Then he laughed, long, loud, theatrical. His men joined in, the sound harsh and mocking.
"You think you can tell me what to do? You think your little uniform scares me?"
Kozlov stepped closer, using his height advantage, trying to intimidate through presence.
"I have killed men, sailor."
Real men, not pretend soldiers playing war games. "I've killed men too," Mac said quietly. "Difference is, mine were trying to kill me back. Makes it fair." The laughter died. Kozlov's expression shifted. He was reading Mac now, really reading him. Seeing past the calm exterior to the operational experience underneath. Seeing the scars on Mac's hands. The faint line near his eye, where shrapnel had carved too close. The 1,000-yard stare that never quite left men who'd seen real combat.
"Navy SEAL,"
Kozlov's voice flattened. "That's what you are, I can tell." "Was. Medically retired, but yeah." "Explains the arrogance, thinking you're special, thinking rules don't apply." Kozlov gestured to his men. "But here's the thing about SEALs. You're only dangerous when you have backup, when you have air support and technology and a whole military behind you. Here," he smiled, "you're alone, and alone men bleed the same as everyone else." Under Mac's table, Rex stood, slowly. Every eye in the restaurant tracked the movement. The German Shepherd was bigger than most people expected. 85 pounds of bone, muscle, and training. His amber eyes were locked on Kozlov with the focus of a missile acquiring target. "Not alone," Mac said. Kozlov looked at Rex, looked back at Mac. His calculation was visible, weighing the risks, the potential costs, the likelihood of success. Then he smiled. "You know what? You're right. I'm going to leave. For now." He adjusted his expensive suit. "But this isn't over. This debt doesn't disappear because some retired soldier plays white knight. Roberto still owes me, and I always collect." He turned toward the door,
then paused, looked back at Sophia, still on the floor, still struggling to breathe. "You're very pretty, little bird. Worth at least 35,000, maybe more." His smile widened. "I'll be seeing you again. Soon." Kozlov and his men left. The door closed behind them with a soft chime that felt obscene against the violence that had just unfolded. The restaurant exhaled. Conversation started again, shaky and uncertain. The construction workers suddenly found their food fascinating. The family with kids hurried out, not wanting to be involved. Mac knelt beside Sophia and Roberto. "You need medical attention. That bruising." "No hospitals." Roberto's voice was firm despite his fear. "No police, no reports. You don't understand." Kozlov wasn't lying. He owns the police in this neighborhood. "We report this, they'll make it worse. He assaulted your daughter in front of witnesses who will all suddenly not remember anything when questioned." Roberto helped Sophia to her feet. "This is how it works here. This is how it's always worked." Sophia found her voice, hoarse and damaged. "He's right. The police. Sergeant Holloway. He's on Kozlov's payroll. Everyone knows it. Everyone's too afraid to say it." Mac's jaw tightened. "Then you fight back a different way. Federal authorities, FBI, they investigate. And while they investigate, Kozlov burns down my restaurant, hurts my daughter, kills me." Roberto shook his head. "I appreciate what you did. You saved Sophia's life. But you've also made things worse, much worse." "How?" "Because now Kozlov knows someone stood up to him. Someone challenged his authority. He can't let that stand. It makes him look weak." Roberto's voice was bitter, resigned. "He'll come back. And next time, he'll bring more men, more guns. And he won't be so easy to scare off." Sophia touched her bruised throat gingerly. "What were you going to do if he hadn't let me go?" Mac looked at her, at the fear in her eyes, at the bruises already forming in the shape of Kozlov's fingers. "Whatever was necessary." "You would have fought them? 3 armed men?" "Yes." "Why?" Her voice cracked. "You don't know us. You don't owe us anything. Why would you risk your life?" Mac didn't answer immediately. How could he explain 14 years of training that boiled down to one simple principle? Protect those who can't protect themselves. How could he articulate the weight of watching 3 teammates die because he'd been too slow, too hesitant, too human? How could he make her understand that doing nothing wasn't an option for him anymore? Not after Afghanistan, not after the IED, not after waking up every night to the sound of explosions that only existed in memory. "Because no one else did," Max said finally. "Everyone saw. Everyone knew what was happening, and everyone looked away. I can't do that." "Can't or won't?" "Same thing." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't—" Her voice broke. Roberto pulled her into a crushing hug. "Shh, mija. You're safe now. You're safe." But Mac knew that wasn't true. Safety was temporary. Kozlov would come back. Men like him always did. Violence delayed wasn't violence prevented. Mac's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. "Commander McAllister?" "Speaking." "This is Special Agent Elena Reyes, FBI San Diego Field Office. We need to talk. About Victor Kozlov. About what you just did. And about how we can make sure it actually matters." Mac looked at Sophia, at Roberto, at the restaurant that was going to become a battlefield whether they wanted it to or not. "I'm listening." "Not over the phone," Agent Reyes said. "Meet me at Barrio Cafe, 2 blocks east of your location. 30 minutes. Come alone. Well,
You and the dog." The line went dead before Mac could respond. Roberto was helping Sophia into a chair, bringing ice wrapped in a towel. Her hands shook as she pressed it against her throat. Mac watched the tremor, recognized it. Post-traumatic stress response. The body processing violence after the immediate threat passed. "Who was that?" Roberto asked. "FBI." Mac looked at his cold menudo, untouched. His appetite had disappeared the moment Kozlov's hand closed around Sophia's throat. "They want to talk about Kozlov." "Don't." Sophia's voice was raw, damaged. "Don't get involved with them. The FBI came around 6 months ago, asked questions, made promises. Then Kozlov found out who'd been talking and—" She stopped, closed her eyes. "And what?" Roberto answered for her. "Maria Sanchez. She owned the bakery 3 streets over. She testified to the FBI about Kozlov's loan operation. 2 weeks later, her bakery burned down. She was inside." Mac's hands clenched into fists. "She died?" "Third-degree burns over 60% of her body. Spent 4 months in the hospital. Lost everything. Her business, her savings, almost her life." Roberto's voice was hollow. "The fire marshal ruled it accidental, faulty wiring. But everyone knew. Everyone knows what happens when you cross Kozlov. So you just let him win? We survive. That's what we do. We pay, we endure, we survive." Roberto looked at his daughter, at the bruises darkening on her throat. "And we pray tomorrow is better than today." Mac stood. "I'm going to meet with the FBI agent, see what they know."
What they can actually do. "They can't do anything," Sophia said. "Not against Kozlov. He's too connected, too protected." "Then I'll find out who protects him and break that protection." Rex stood when Mac did, perfectly synchronized. Together they walked toward the door. "Commander," Sophia's voice stopped him. "If you do this, if you really go after Kozlov, he'll destroy you. He has connections everywhere. Police, city council, judges. Even some federal agents are on his payroll."
"You think you're helping, but you're just painting a target on yourself." Mac looked back at her, at the bruises in the shape of Kozlov's fingers, at the fear that hadn't left her eyes even after he'd gone. "Target's already painted. Kozlov made that decision when he put his hands on you." Outside, the San Diego sun was brutal. Mac's truck, a beat-up F-150 with 200,000 miles and a dying transmission, sat in the parking lot like a monument to better days. He'd bought it used 8 years ago, back when SEAL pay seemed sufficient, back before medical retirement and disability ratings, and struggling to afford menudo. Rex jumped into the passenger seat, immediately sticking his head out the window. Even after 5 years together, the dog's joy at simple things never faded. Mac envied that. The ability to find happiness in wind and movement and being alive. Barrio Cafe was exactly what Mac expected. Small, local, the kind of place where conversations could happen without attracting attention. He parked, scanned the area out of habit. No visible surveillance, but that didn't mean it wasn't there. Agent Elena Reyes sat at a corner table with her back to the wall. Late 30s, sharp eyes, dark hair pulled into a professional bun. She wore a blazer that didn't quite hide the service weapon at her hip. When Mac entered, she assessed him the way he'd assessed Kozlov, cataloging threats, calculating risks. "Commander McAllister, thank you for coming." Mac sat across from her. Rex settled under the table, watchful but calm. "How'd you know what happened at the restaurant?" "I've had surveillance on Kozlov for 3 years. La Cocina del Mar is one of 16 businesses he's actively extorting. We have cameras, we have audio, we have documentation." Reyes pulled out a tablet, brought up footage, including what you just did.
The video showed the entire confrontation. Kozlov strangling Sofia, Mac standing. The tense exchange. Kozlov's retreat. "That's assault," Mac said. "Attempted murder. You have it on camera. Arrest him." "With what evidence?" "Kozlov will claim it was a misunderstanding, that he was demonstrating a self-defense technique, that Sofia consented as part of training." Reyes's frustration was evident. "He's done this before. We arrest him, his lawyers have him out in 6 hours. Witnesses recant, evidence disappears, and then he retaliates against whoever reported him." "Maria Sanchez," Reyes's expression darkened. "You know about that?" "Roberto told me. Kozlov burned down her bakery." "Can't prove it, just like we can't prove the 7 other accidents that happened to people who crossed him. Car crashes, home invasions, one guy fell off a building, all ruled accidental or unsolved." Reyes leaned forward. "Viktor Kozlov is a Russian mob enforcer who's built an empire in San Diego over 15 years. Loan sharking, extortion, money laundering, suspected human trafficking. We estimate he controls 80% of organized crime in the South Bay. And we can't touch him." "Why not?" "Because he owns people. Police officers, city officials. He's got dirt on a superior court judge. And he's smart. Everything is layered, protected, deniable. We need someone on the inside. Someone he can't intimidate. Someone who already pissed him off publicly." Mac understood. "You want me to be bait. I want you to be an opportunity. Kozlov can't let what you did stand. It makes him look weak. He'll come after you. Threats, intimidation, violence. And every move he makes is evidence. Every threat is a charge. Every assault builds the RICO case we've been trying to build for 3 years." Mac studied her. "You've tried this before. Used someone as bait. Didn't work out?" Reyes hesitated. "Twice. First was a former Marine, tough guy, thought he could handle it. Kozlov's men put him in the hospital. 14 broken bones. Victim refused to testify, left the state. Second was an undercover agent. She lasted 3 weeks before Kozlov figured out she was federal. We found her car in the bay. Never found her." "And you think I'll do better?" "I think you're different. You're not undercover. You're exactly what you appear to be, a Navy SEAL who saw something wrong and stepped in. That authenticity is valuable. Kozlov can't dismiss you as easily. And Commander," Reyes pulled up another file. "I've read your service record. Naval Special Warfare Development Group. 14 years, 47 successful operations. Silver Star for valor in Helmand Province when you held off an entire Taliban assault for 6 hours while your team evacuated wounded. You're not some civilian playing hero. You're the real thing." "I'm medically retired. My combat days are over." "Are they? Because what I saw in that surveillance footage looked a lot like combat readiness to me." Reyes closed the tablet. "Here's my proposal. You stay in San Diego. You continue to be visible. You go to places Kozlov owns, places he controls. You show him you're not afraid. He'll escalate. We document everything. Build a case so solid, even his corrupt judge can't dismiss it. And the Martinez family, Sofia and Roberto? If I do this, Kozlov will use them to get to me. We put them in protective custody, relocate them temporarily until the case is built. They'll lose their restaurant, their livelihood. Better than losing their lives." Reyes's voice softened. "Commander, Sofia Martinez is the 14th woman Kozlov has assaulted this year. The 14th. Most don't report it because they're terrified. The ones who do, their cases get buried. But if we take down Kozlov's entire organization, all those women get justice. All those businesses get freed from his extortion. The whole neighborhood gets to breathe again." Mac looked at Rex. The dog's amber eyes were fixed on him, trusting, waiting. What's your timeline? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Long enough to provoke multiple documented incidents. Then we execute warrants, flip his associates, dismantle the network. And if he decides to skip documentation and just kill me? He won't. Not immediately. Killing a Navy SEAL, even retired, that brings federal heat he can't control. He'll try to break you first, make an example, show the neighborhood what happens to people who challenge him. Reyes met Mac's eyes. But you won't break, will you? Mac thought about Afghanistan, about holding position while his team extracted, about watching teammates die while he provided covering fire, about the IED that ended his career but not his purpose. No, I won't break. Then we have a deal? Before Mac could answer, his phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Stay away from FBI. Stay away from Martinez family. Last warning. VK. Mac showed it to Reyes. She smiled grimly. He works fast, has sources everywhere, probably has someone in the local PD monitoring FBI activity. She pulled out a burner phone. Use this, encrypted. Only I have the number. When Kozlov makes his move, you call me immediately. Mac pocketed the phone. There's one condition. Name it. When this is over, when Kozlov goes down, the Martinez family's debt is wiped clean. Whatever he claims they owe, it's canceled. Their restaurant stays theirs. Done. Federal asset forfeiture will cover it. They shook hands. As Mac stood to leave, Reyes called after him. Commander, one more thing. Be careful with Sergeant Holloway. He's not just corrupt. He's Kozlov's primary protection. He'll tip off Kozlov to every move you make. Trust him with nothing. Mac left the cafe, sat in his truck for a long moment, engine off, thinking. Rex whined softly, sensing Mac's internal conflict. I know, boy, I know. Mac scratched behind Rex's ears. We came to San Diego to retire, get away from violence, figure out what normal life looks like. Instead, we walked into another war. Rex licked Mac's hand. Simple, trusting. Mac's phone rang. Roberto Martinez. Commander, you need to come back to the restaurant, now. Sophia, she's not okay. Please, just come. Mac was moving before Roberto finished speaking. He reached La Cocina del Mar in 6 minutes. Found Sophia in the back office, curled in a chair, shaking violently. Roberto stood helplessly nearby. She won't talk to me, Roberto said. Won't let me touch her. She just keeps saying, I can't breathe, over and over. Panic attack. Mac recognized it instantly. He'd had enough of them after Afghanistan. He knelt in front of Sophia's chair, didn't touch her, just spoke quietly. Sophia, I'm here. You're safe. Kozlov's gone. She looked up. Her eyes were wild, unfocused. I can't. His hand. I can still feel. I know you can. That's normal. Your body is processing trauma. It feels real because your brain is trying to make sense of what happened. Make it stop. Please make it stop. I can't make it stop, but I can help you breathe through it. Look at me. Just me. Forget everything else. Sophia's eyes locked onto his. In through your nose. Count of 4. Hold it. Count of 4. Out through your mouth. Count of 4. Can you do that with me? She tried, failed, gasped. That's okay. Try again. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time she managed it. They breathed together for 5 minutes. Slowly, Sophia's shaking subsided. Her eyes cleared. How did you know how to do that? She asked finally. Because I've had panic attacks. After combat. After my team died.
After the explosion that ended my career. Max sat back on his heels. It gets better. Not quickly, not easily, but it gets better. I thought I was going to die, her voice broke. His hand around my throat, squeezing, and I couldn't stop him. I was completely helpless. You're not helpless now. Aren't I? He's going to come back. He said so.
And next time, you might not be there. Next time he'll... She couldn't finish. Roberto spoke up. That FBI agent called me too. Wants us in protective custody. Says we have to leave tonight. No. Sophia's response was immediate. This is our home, our business. I won't let him drive us out. Mija, it's not safe. It's never been safe. Not for months. Not since Kozlov started coming around. Sophia stood, pacing. You know what he told me when you were in the kitchen? He said I wasn't the first. That he'd trained other women, taught them to be respectful, and that if I was smart, I'd learn from their example. Mac's blood went cold. Other women. He told you about other victims? Not names, just that I should ask around. Find out what happens to pretty girls who think they're too good for him. Sophia's hands clenched into fists. I think Maria Sanchez wasn't his only victim. I think there are more. Women he's hurt. Women who are too terrified to report it. Reyes had said 14 women this year. How many more in previous years? How many victims buried under fear and corruption? Mac's decision crystallized in that moment. This wasn't just about protecting the Martinez family. This was about every victim Kozlov had created. Every person living in fear. Every business owner paying protection money to a predator. I'm going to stop him, Mac said. Not just for you, for all of them. How? The police won't help. The FBI has been trying for 3 years. By making him come after me. By giving him a target he can't resist. And by documenting every move he makes until we have enough evidence to bury him. Roberto shook his head. That's suicide. No, that's tactics. Kozlov thinks he's untouchable because he controls the local power structure. But he's not untouchable. He's just never faced someone who knows how to fight back. Mac stood. I need you both to do something for me. Think about every person in this neighborhood Kozlov has hurt. Every business owner he's threatened. Every victim he's assaulted. Make me a list. Why? Because victims become witnesses when they're not alone. When they see someone else standing up. When they realize the predator can bleed. Sophia stared at him. You really think you can take him down? I know I can. Question is whether you trust me enough to help. She looked at her father. At the office where they built a business from nothing. At the bruises on her own throat. What do you need? 20 minutes later, Mac had a list of 12 names. Small business owners, restaurant workers, 2 young women who'd been trained by Kozlov and never reported it. One name made Mac's hands shake. Jessica Chen, age 19, worked at a dry cleaner on 5th Street. Kozlov had assaulted her 6 months ago. She'd tried to report it. Her case was handled by Sergeant Holloway. It went nowhere. 2 weeks after reporting, Jessica's apartment was broken into. She was beaten unconscious. Woke up in the hospital with a message carved into her arm. Learn to be quiet. She left San Diego the day she was discharged. Never came back. He's done this to 19-year-olds, Mac said, his voice tight with controlled rage. He's destroyed lives, burned businesses, killed at least one woman we know about. And he's done it for 15 years because no one could stop him. Can you? Roberto asked quietly. Really stop him? I've taken down worse men in worse places with worse odds. Kozlov's got money and corrupt cops, but he's never fought a SEAL. Mac's burner phone buzzed. Reyes. Kozlov knows about our meeting. He's planning something for tonight. Nightclub called Velvet Room. His territory. High-value targets will be there. Other business owners he's collecting from. If you show up, it sends a message. But it's also dangerous as hell. Mac texted back. What time? 10 p.m. VIP section. He'll have 6 to 8 men there, all armed. Good. More witnesses when he makes his move. Commander, this isn't a mission. You're not going in with backup. I have Rex. That's all the backup I need. He pocketed the phone, looked at Roberto and Sophia. Tonight, Kozlov's going to get his first lesson. That the neighborhood he terrorized has someone who terrorizes back. Sophia touched his arm. Please, don't get yourself killed. I couldn't handle someone else dying because of me. No one's dying, except maybe Kozlov's reputation. Mac headed for the door. Lock up tonight. Don't open for anyone. I'll call you when it's over. As Mac walked to his truck, Rex at his side, he felt something he hadn't felt since Afghanistan. Purpose. Mission clarity. The absolute certainty that came from having an objective and the training to achieve it. He'd spent 3 weeks adrift after medical retirement. 3 weeks wondering if the best part of his life was over. If he was just going to fade into a quiet existence of disability checks and cold coffee and forgetting what it meant to matter. Kozlov had given him the answer. The best part wasn't over. It was just beginning. Max spent the afternoon at his motel room, preparing the way he'd prepared for operations in Afghanistan. Methodical, focused, treating this like any other mission where failure meant death. He called his sister. She answered on the first ring. "You're in trouble," she said immediately. No hello, just the knowing certainty of someone who'd watched Mac walk into danger his entire adult life. "What makes you say that?" "Because you only call me at 3 p.m. when you're about to do something stupid." "What is it this time? Bar fight? Rescuing someone? Both?" Mac almost smiled. "There's a situation. Organized crime. Corrupt police. Victims who need protecting." "Of course there is, because you can't just retire peacefully like a normal person. You have to find wars to fight." Her voice softened. "Mac, you don't have to save everyone." "I know." "Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you've spent 14 years trying to make up for Dad and Mom dying. Trying to protect everyone else because you couldn't protect them." Mac's hand tightened on the phone. Their parents had died 8 years ago. Drunk driver, wrong place, wrong time. Mac had been deployed in Iraq. Couldn't get emergency leave fast enough. Arrived home 2 days after the funeral. This isn't about them. It's always about them. Every mission, every risk. You're still trying to save the family you lost. She paused. "But Mac, they're gone. And you're allowed to live for yourself instead of dying for strangers." "These aren't strangers anymore." "They are. You met them today, yesterday, last week. They're not your responsibility." "Then whose responsibility are they? Who protects the 22-year-old girl getting strangled by a loan shark? Who stops the predator who's hurt 19 women and gotten away with it every single time?" His sister was quiet for a long moment. "You can't save them all." "I can save these ones. Today. Right now. That's enough." "Is it? Or is this just another way to avoid dealing with the fact that your SEAL career is over? That you're 35, medically retired, and scared that the best part of your life is behind you?" Mac closed his eyes. Maybe that's exactly what this is. But it doesn't change the fact that if I don't stop this guy, He hurts more people. And I can't live with that. Okay, but Mac, call me after. Whatever happens tonight, call me. Because I already buried our parents. I'm not burying you too. I'll call. He hung up, looked at Rex, who'd been listening to the entire conversation with that uncanny dog intuition. She's right, you know. I am trying to save everyone to make up for the ones I couldn't save. Mac knelt, scratched behind Rex's ears. But that doesn't make it wrong, does it? Rex licked his face. Unconditional support. The kind humans couldn't give. At 9:30 p.m., Mac dressed in civilian clothes. Jeans, boots, a plain gray t-shirt that showed the scars on his forearms. He wanted to look non-threatening but not weak. Approachable but not soft. Rex wore his service vest. Legal protection under ADA, but also tactical. The vest had pockets where Mac had hidden a small camera, recording equipment, courtesy of Agent Reyes. Everything you see, everything you hear gets recorded, Reyes had said when she dropped off the equipment that afternoon. We need documentation, multiple incidents, pattern of behavior. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Mac had nodded, but they both knew engagement was inevitable. Kozlov wouldn't let Mac walk into his territory unchallenged. The Velvet Room was exactly what Mac expected. Expensive, dark, bass-heavy music loud enough to prevent conversation. The kind of place where people proved their worth with bottle service and designer clothes. Mac paid the cover charge, $20 he couldn't afford, and walked in. Rex at perfect heel position. The bouncer tried to stop them. No dogs, man. Mac pulled out his phone, showed the ADA documentation. Service animal, federal law. You deny entry, that's discrimination. Want to test it? The bouncer looked at Rex, 85 pounds of German Shepherd with eyes that tracked every movement. Looked back at Mac's scarred hands, his seal posture, the complete absence of fear in his expression. Whatever, but he causes problems. You're both out. Mac walked through the club. The music was oppressive, the crowd thick. He found a high-top table with clear sightlines to the VIP section, where Kozlov held court. The Russian sat surrounded by 6 men, all muscle, all watchful. Women in expensive dresses laughed at his jokes, paid to make him feel important. Kozlov held a glass of vodka, gesturing broadly, playing the successful businessman. Then his eyes found Mac. The recognition was instant. Kozlov's smile froze. His hands stopped mid-gesture. For 3 seconds, he just stared. Then he smiled. Leaned over, whispered to 2 of his men. They stood, approached Mac's table. Mr. Kozlov doesn't remember inviting you. The first enforcer was mid-30s, neck tattoos, dead eyes. Ex-military based on his bearing. Probably Marines. Dishonorably discharged based on the prison ink. Don't need an invitation, Mac said calmly. This is a public establishment. Public doesn't mean welcome. Mr. Kozlov thinks you should leave. Mr. Kozlov can think whatever he wants. I'm staying. The enforcer's hand moved toward Mac's shoulder. Rex's growl cut through the music. Low, dangerous, unmistakable warning. The enforcer pulled back. That dog's illegal in here. Service animal. Federal protection. Touch me. Touch the dog. That's assault and ADA violation. Mac tapped his phone on the table. Red light, blinking. Also, I'm recording everything, so please, keep going. Give me evidence. The enforcers exchanged glances, uncertain. This wasn't how these confrontations usually went. Kozlov appeared, flanked by 4 more men. Up close, his cologne was overpowering. Expensive, but trying too hard. Like everything about him. Commander McAllister. Kozlov's accent made each syllable sharp. What a surprise. Is it? I thought our conversation this afternoon was clear. You stay away from my business, I stay away from you. Simple arrangement. I'm not at your business. I'm at a nightclub, enjoying a drink, totally unrelated to you." Kozlov's smile was ice. "Nothing in this club is unrelated to me. I own it. The liquor license, the property, even the people drinking here tonight. Many of them owe me money. This is my territory. Then you should probably treat it better." Health code violations. Fire exits blocked. Occupancy limits exceeded. "Want me to continue?" Kozlov leaned closer. "You're playing a dangerous game." "Not playing, working. I'm helping the FBI build a RICO case against your organization. Thought you should know." The VIP section went silent. Kozlov's men tensed. Hands moved toward concealed weapons. Kozlov's laugh was forced. "The FBI. They've been building a case for years. How's that working out for them?" "Better now. See, they have something new. Me. A witness who's not afraid of you, who knows exactly what you are and isn't impressed." "You should be afraid." Kozlov's voice dropped to a whisper. "I know where you sleep. That motel on Harbor Street, room 217. I know your sister's name. Jennifer McAllister. Teaches 3rd grade in Virginia Beach. I know you have $47 in your wallet, and your disability check doesn't clear for another 3 weeks." Mac's blood went cold. Kozlov had done his homework. Fast, thorough. "If you threaten my sister—" "I don't threaten, Commander. I educate. You need to understand what you're dealing with. I have resources you can't imagine. People you can't touch. Protection at every level." Kozlov straightened. "So here's my final offer. Leave San Diego. Tonight. Get in your broken truck with your dog and drive away. Forget you ever met me, and I'll forget you exist." "And the Martinez family?" "Their debt stands. That's business. But they'll be alive. You interfere again, and I can't promise that." Mac stood slowly. He was shorter than Kozlov by 3 inches, but something in his movement made the Russian step back. "I'm not leaving. I'm not forgetting. And you're going to prison. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But soon. And when you go, I'm going to visit you in your cell and remind you that you could have walked away." Kozlov's face went purple. "You arrogant!" He shoved Mac, hard, both hands to the chest. Mac didn't stumble, didn't even rock back, just absorbed the force, perfectly balanced. "That's assault," Mac said calmly. "On camera. First charge." Kozlov grabbed Mac's collar. "You want charges? I'll give you charges." He pulled Mac close, his other hand balling into a fist. Rex launched. The German Shepherd moved with the speed and precision of a missile. He didn't bite, not yet, but positioned himself between Mac and Kozlov, teeth bared, hackles raised, an 85-pound warning that the next move would have consequences. Kozlov released Mac, stumbling back. "Control your animal." "He is controlled. He's protecting me from assault, which is exactly what he's trained to do." Kozlov's men circled closer. 6 of them now, all armed based on the way they moved. The music stopped. The DJ, clearly paid to watch for trouble, had killed the sound. The crowd backed away, forming a circle. Everyone with phones out, recording. Perfect. More witnesses. "This ends one of 2 ways, Mac said, loud enough for the crowd. "You let me leave peacefully, or your men assault me, and I defend myself. Either way, it's documented. Either way, it goes in the FBI's case file. Your choice." One of the enforcers pulled a collapsible baton, extended it with a sharp click. "No choice." The enforcer swung at Mac's head. Mac blocked, redirected the baton, stepped inside the enforcer's reach, and delivered a precise strike to the solar plexus.
The man folded, gasping. A second enforcer rushed in. Mac's elbow caught him in the jaw. Controlled force, enough to stun but not seriously injure. The enforcer dropped. A third pulled a knife. 4-inch blade. Illegal concealed carry. He lunged. Rex intercepted. Caught the man's wrist in his jaws. Not biting through, but applying enough pressure to force the weapon free. The knife clattered to the floor. Rex maintained his hold, keeping the man pinned. Mac faced the remaining 3 enforcers. They hesitated now, realizing this wasn't a random retired sailor. This was a professional. Trained. Dangerous. Kozlov screamed, "Kill him! I don't care about cameras! Kill him now!" The enforcers moved together. Coordinated. Military training obvious. Mac had fought better. In Helmand Province, he'd held off 12 Taliban fighters for 6 hours. 3 enforcers in a nightclub wasn't a fight. It was a demonstration. He moved through them like water, redirecting momentum, using their aggression against them. One went down to a leg sweep, another to a precise strike to the carotid artery that induced temporary unconsciousness. The third tried to grab Mac in a bear hug. Mac broke the hold with a simple joint lock, put the man face down on the floor. Elapsed time, 18 seconds. 6 enforcers down. Kozlov, standing alone, face purple with rage. The crowd erupted, phones everywhere, video streaming live. Mac McAllister versus Kozlov's organization going viral in real time. "You're dead," Kozlov's voice cracked. "You hear me? Dead. I will destroy everything you—" The club doors burst open. San Diego PD flooded in. 8 uniformed officers, weapons drawn. Leading them, Sergeant Holloway. Holloway's eyes swept the scene. 6 enforcers on the ground. Mac standing calm. Rex at perfect heel. "Nobody move. On the ground. Now!" Mac didn't move. "Sergeant Holloway, these men assaulted me. Multiple witnesses, including video evidence. I defended myself. All 6 of them attacked first. I said on the ground. I'm not resisting. I'm standing still. You want me to comply with lawful orders? Give me a lawful order. On the ground isn't lawful when I'm the victim defending myself." Holloway's face reddened. "You're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon." "What weapon? I'm unarmed. Used only hands and defensive techniques against armed assailants. That's legal self-defense." "The dog! That's a deadly weapon." "That's a service animal protecting his handler from assault. Also legal under federal law." Kozlov stepped forward, adjusting his suit, putting on his injured victim performance. "Sergeant, thank God you're here. This man came to my establishment and attacked my security staff. He threatened me, destroyed my property, endangered my patrons." "That's a lie," someone in the crowd shouted. Holloway spun. "Who said that?" A young man stepped forward, college age, phone in hand. "I recorded everything. Kozlov's men attacked first. This guy just defended himself. And that Russian dude admitted on camera that he owns the club, which means all those liquor violations are his responsibility." Other voices joined in. "He's right. I saw it. The SEAL didn't start it." Holloway's calculation was visible. Too many witnesses, too many cameras, too much evidence. He couldn't just arrest Mac without looking completely corrupt. But he tried anyway. "Everyone recording, delete those videos. Now. This is an active crime scene. Recording is obstruction." "That's false," Mac said. "California is a 2-party consent state for audio, but visual recording in public is legal. And this is public space. These people have every right to record. You're ordering citizens to destroy evidence of a crime, which is itself a crime. Sergeant, are you sure you want to keep going down this path?" Holloway's hand moved to his service weapon. "You're interfering with an investigation." "What investigation?
You arrived 2 minutes after the assault. Haven't interviewed witnesses, haven't collected evidence, haven't even identified who the aggressors were.
So what exactly are you investigating? Before Holloway could respond, new voices cut through the tension. FBI! Everyone stay where you are! Agent Reyes entered with 4 federal agents, badges high, weapons holstered, but ready. Holloway went pale. This isn't federal jurisdiction. Actually, it is. We have an active RICO investigation into Viktor Kozlov's organization. This nightclub is listed as a money laundering asset, which means any crimes committed here fall under our purview. Reyes looked at Mac. Commander McAllister, are you injured? No, ma'am. Defended myself successfully against 6 armed assailants. And you have evidence of the assault? Mac held up his phone. Video and audio, time-stamped, showing Mr. Kozlov ordering his men to kill me despite camera evidence. Also showing him threatening my sister by name, which constitutes interstate threats if we want to add federal charges. Reyes smiled. We do want to add federal charges. Sergeant Holloway, you're dismissed. This is now a federal scene. We'll handle the investigation. You can't just, we can and we are. Leave, now, before I add obstruction charges to the list of crimes we're investigating regarding your relationship with Mr. Kozlov. Holloway looked at Kozlov. Some silent communication passed between them. Then Holloway led his officers out, defeated. Kozlov turned his rage on Reyes. This is harassment. I'm a legitimate businessman. I'll have my lawyers. Your lawyers will be very busy. We're executing search warrants on 6 of your properties tonight, including this club. Everyone out except federal personnel and witnesses. Reyes gestured to her agents. Secure the scene. Collect all video evidence. Interview everyone who saw what happened. As the club emptied, as federal agents swarmed the space, Kozlov found himself surrounded, outmaneuvered. For the first time, Mac saw real fear in the Russian's eyes. This isn't over, Kozlov hissed at Mac. Yeah, it is. You just don't know it yet. Reyes approached Mac, speaking quietly. That was reckless. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. And now you have attempted murder on camera, assault, threats, conspiracy. How's that RICO case looking? Better. Much better. Reyes glanced at Kozlov, being questioned by agents. But he's right about one thing. This isn't over. He's going to escalate. Go after softer targets. The Martinez family, and anyone else who's helped you. He'll burn down businesses, hurt people, make examples. That's how men like him operate when they're cornered. Mac felt the weight of that. So we need to move faster. Get him in custody before he can retaliate. We're trying, but even with tonight's evidence, his lawyers will have him out in hours. We need the full case, financial crimes, pattern of extortion, witness testimony. That takes time. How much time? Days, maybe a week. He'll kill people in a week. I know. Reyes's frustration was evident. Which is why I need you to lay low. Stop provoking him. Let us work the investigation. Can't do that. Commander, he knows where I live, knows my sister's name, threatened her directly on camera. You think he's going to wait patiently while you file paperwork? Mac shook his head. He's coming for me. Tonight. Tomorrow. Soon. And when he does, I'm going to be ready. You're one man. I'm one man he can't buy, can't intimidate, and can't kill easily. That makes me valuable. Mac clipped Rex's leash. Get your case built, Agent Reyes. I'll keep Kozlov distracted. As Mac walked toward the exit, one of Reyes's agents stopped him. Commander, we found something. In Kozlov's office. You need to see this. The office was upstairs. Private, luxurious, everything Kozlov pretended to be. On his desk, agents had found a ledger. Not digital. Old-school paper records.
Names, amounts, dates. Max scanned the pages, recognized names from the list Sophia and Roberto had given him. Maria Sanchez, Jessica Chen, 14 other women. But there were more, so many more. 43 names total. Jesus, Mac whispered. 43 victims. The agent nodded grimly. And these are just the ones he documented. Probably more who never made it into his records. One name caught Mac's eye. Recent, added just hours ago. Sophia Martinez, with a note beside it. Debt collection via alternative means, high value. Mac's hands clenched into fists. Kozlov had already decided Sophia's fate. Already planned to use her as payment for Roberto's debt. I need a copy of this ledger. All of it. It's evidence. I know. But I need proof to show the other victims, to convince them to testify. They need to see they're not alone. The agent looked at Reyes, who'd followed them upstairs. She nodded. Make him a copy. Redact names for witness protection. But give him enough to work with. As Mac left the velvet room, ledger copy in hand, his burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Heavy breathing. Then a voice, distorted, mechanical. You made a very big mistake tonight, Commander. Very big. Now I make you pay. Not fast. Slow. Everyone you care about. Starting with a pretty girl with a bruised throat. The line went dead. Mac was already running for his truck, Rex sprinting beside him. He dialed Roberto's cell. No answer. He tried Sophia's phone. No answer. He called the restaurant landline. Busy signal. Mac's truck tore out of the parking lot, tires screaming. The restaurant was 15 minutes away. He made it in 8, running red lights, pushing the dying transmission past its limits. La Cocina del Mar's lights were still on. The front door hung open. Glass from broken windows littered the sidewalk. Mac grabbed his service pistol from under the seat. Technically illegal for a civilian to carry, but he'd worry about legality later. Rex sensed the danger, growled low. Quiet approach, Mac commanded. Search. They moved in tactical formation, Mac on point, Rex sweeping, both silent as ghosts. The restaurant was destroyed. Tables overturned, equipment smashed. Gasoline smell heavy in the air. Accelerant, ready to burn. And in the back office, Roberto lay unconscious, blood pooling from a head wound. Sophia was gone. On the wall, written in what looked like Sophia's lipstick, you have 24 hours to leave San Diego, or the girl dies screaming. Your choice, Commander. Mac checked Roberto's pulse. Weak, but present. He called 911, then Reyes. They took her. Kozlov's men took Sophia. Reyes's voice was sharp with alarm. When? 15 minutes ago, maybe 20. They left Roberto alive as a message. Said I have 24 hours to leave town or she dies. We'll issue an Amber Alert. Get every cop looking. Half the cops work for Kozlov. They'll report her location straight to him. Mac was pacing now, thinking tactically, fighting the panic that wanted to overwhelm training. We need to find her ourselves, fast, before he moves her somewhere we can't track. How? We don't even know where he'd take her. Mac looked at the ledger copy. 43 names, 43 victims, all documented, all tracked, all taken to the same place before Kozlov collected payment. The ledger. Does it have addresses? Locations where the assaults happened? Reyes was already checking. Yes, multiple properties, all owned by shell companies we traced to Kozlov. Wait, there's one used repeatedly. Industrial warehouse in the Port District. 16 of the 43 assaults happened there. That's where he'd take her. Familiar ground. Soundproof. Isolated. Commander, you can't go in alone. Let us organize a tactical response. That takes hours. Sophia doesn't have hours. She has minutes before Kozlov decides to make good on his threat. Then wait for my team. 30 minutes. We'll breach together. 30 minutes is too long. Mac hung up, looked at Rex. You remember Kandahar? Building to building clearing? Just you and me against 20 hostiles? Rex's tail wagged once. Ready. Then let's go get her. They drove into the night, toward the port district, toward the warehouse where Kozlov was probably already hurting Sophia, toward a fight Mac knew he might not walk away from. But he'd walked into worse odds before, and he'd walked out alive. Tonight wouldn't be any different. It couldn't be, because Sophia Martinez didn't have anyone else. And Mac McAllister didn't know how to abandon people who needed him, even if saving them killed him. The warehouse sat at the edge of the industrial port district, surrounded by shipping containers and abandoned vehicles. No lights, no movement, just the kind of isolated structure where screams wouldn't carry beyond the walls. Mac parked 3 blocks away, killed the engine, sat in silence for 30 seconds, breathing, centering, becoming the operator he'd been trained to be. His phone buzzed. Reyes. Team is 20 minutes out. Do not go in alone. That's an order. Mac typed back. You're FBI. I'm retired Navy. You don't give me orders. He powered off the phone. Rex watched him, amber eyes steady, waiting for the command that would turn them from man and dog into a tactical unit. We've done this before, Mac said quietly. Kandahar, Helmand, Ramadi. Different country, same mission. Get in, extract the hostage, get out. Can you still do it? Rex's tail wagged once. Affirmative. Mac checked his service pistol, Sig Sauer P226, 15 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. Not much firepower for what he was walking into. But SEALs were taught to fight with whatever they had. Sometimes that was a rifle and air support. Sometimes it was a handgun and a dog. They approached the warehouse using shipping containers for cover. Mac moved the way he'd moved through Kandahar. Silent, economical, every step calculated. Rex matched him perfectly, years of joint training making them extensions of each other. 2 guards stood outside the main entrance, armed with AR-15s, professional stance, military bearing. These weren't street thugs, these were trained operators. Kozlov had upgraded his security. Mac studied them through the gap between containers. Radio earpieces, body armor under their jackets. Coordinated patrol pattern. They knew what they were doing, which meant direct approach was suicide. Mac circled to the warehouse's east side, found a loading dock, roll-up door partially open. Maintenance access, probably. He signaled Rex, silent approach, threat assessment. They slipped under the door into darkness. Mac's eyes adjusted slowly. The warehouse interior was massive. 2 stories, catwalks overhead, office spaces built into the 2nd floor. And somewhere in this labyrinth, Sophia was being held. Mac heard voices. Russian. 3 distinct speakers, maybe 4, moving closer. He pressed against a support column, Rex tight against his leg. The voices passed 20 feet away, close enough that Mac could smell cigarette smoke. When they moved on, Mac advanced, found a stairwell leading to the 2nd floor offices. That's where Kozlov would be. High ground. Psychological advantage. Making the victim climb to reach him. Mac started up the stairs, testing each step for noise. At the top, a hallway. 4 doors. 3 closed, 1 open with light spilling out. From that room, Mac heard crying. Sophia's voice, broken and terrified. "Please, I don't know where he is." "I swear, A slap. The sound echoed. Sophia cried out. Kozlov's voice. Lying. You're lying. He called you. Warned you. Where is the commander? I don't know. He just told us to lock up. He didn't say... Another slap. Harder. Mac's vision tunneled. Red crept in at the edges. Every instinct screamed to rush in, to end this, to make Kozlov pay for every second of suffering. But rushing meant getting Sophia killed, meant walking into a room full of armed men without knowing the layout, the positions, the threats. So Mac did something harder than rushing. He waited, listened, counted. Kozlov, two other voices, the enforcers from the nightclub, the ones who'd survived. And someone else. Voice familiar, cold, authoritative. Sergeant Holloway. The girl doesn't know anything useful, Holloway said. McAllister's too smart to tell civilians his plans. Waste of time interrogating her. Then what do you suggest? Kozlov's frustration was evident. Use her as bait. Let word spread that you have her. McAllister's the type who'll come for her. When he does, we're ready. Ambush. No cameras this time. No witnesses. Just a body in the bay and a missing girl nobody can find. And the FBI? Reyes is stuck in bureaucracy. Search warrants take time. By the time she gets here, this place will be cleaned out. No evidence, no victim, no case. Sophia's voice, weak. You're a police officer. You're supposed to protect people. Holloway laughed. I protect people who pay me, sweetheart. And you're not on that list. Mac had heard enough. He pulled out his phone, still powered off, turned it on long enough to send one text to Reyes. Holloway is here, helping Kozlov. Officer down protocol may be necessary. He powered it off again before they could track the signal. Then he moved. The door was partially open. Mac could see into the room now. Sophia sat tied to a chair, face bruised, blood running from her split lip. Kozlov stood over her. Holloway leaned against a desk. Two enforcers flanked the door. 4 armed hostiles. 1 restrained victim. Tactical advantage? None. Element of surprise? Total. Mac gave Rex the hand signal they'd practiced 10,000 times. Protect. Attack on command. Target, armed hostiles. Rex's body tensed. Ready. Mac stepped into the doorway, weapon raised, voice calm as death. Let her go. 4 heads whipped toward him. Hands moved toward weapons. Move and you die, Mac said. All of you, starting with Kozlov. His pistol was aimed center mass at the Russian, finger on trigger. Training made the shot automatic. 15 feet, stationary target, guaranteed hit. Kozlov smiled. Commander, right on time. Sergeant Holloway said you'd come. I'm saying it one more time. Let her go. Untie her. Step away. Or what? You shoot me? Then my men shoot you. Then we both die, and the girl still ends up dead. Nobody wins. Wrong. I shoot you, my dog attacks your men, and I put down anyone still standing. SEAL training versus thugs. Guess who wins? Holloway pushed off the desk. You're bluffing. You're not going to... Mac's shot put a round into the desk, 6 inches from Holloway's hand. The sergeant jumped back, face white. Not bluffing. Next one goes through your kneecap. After that, I work my way up. Kozlov's eyes narrowed. You just fired a weapon in an enclosed space with a hostage present. Very unprofessional. I'm retired. Don't have to be professional anymore. Just effective. Mac's aim never wavered. Untie her. Now. One of the enforcers made his move, reached for the pistol at his hip. Rex, attack! The German shepherd launched, hit the enforcer mid-draw, took him to the ground, jaws locked on his gun hand. The pistol clattered away. The second enforcer raised his weapon. Mac's shot caught him in the shoulder. Controlled, non-lethal, disabling. The man screamed, his gun falling. Kozlov dove behind the desk. Holloway pulled his service weapon. Mac was already moving. Tactical roll, coming up behind an overturned filing cabinet. Holloway's shot went wide, punching into the wall where Mac had been standing. "Sergeant, you just fired at a federal witness. That's attempted murder of a federal witness. You're done." "You're the one who'll be done." Holloway fired again, wild, panicked. Mac waited for the third shot. Counted. Holloway was using a standard police-issue Glock 22, 15-round magazine, 12 rounds left after 3 shots. Except Holloway wasn't trained for combat. He was scared, and scared shooters made mistakes. Holloway broke cover to advance. Mac's shot was precise. Hit Holloway's weapon hand. The sergeant dropped his Glock, clutching his bleeding hand, screaming. Kozlov popped up from behind the desk, his own pistol raised. "Enough!" He pressed the barrel against Sophia's temple. Her eyes went wide with terror. "Drop your weapon, Commander, or I paint the wall with her brain." Mac's calculation was instant. Distance, 12 feet. Angle, poor. Kozlov using Sophia as a human shield. Probability of clean shot without hitting hostage, 20%. Unacceptable. He lowered his weapon. Didn't drop it. Okay, just don't hurt her." "I said drop it." "And I said I'm lowering it. You want me to drop it? You let her go first. Trade me for her." Kozlov laughed. "You think I'm stupid? You're a SEAL. The moment I release her, you'll kill us all." "Probably. But if you hurt her, I'll definitely kill you. Slow. Painful. The way I was trained to interrogate enemy combatants." Mac's voice dropped to a whisper. "I know 17 different ways to keep a man conscious while removing pieces of him. Want to find out which one I use first?" Kozlov's hand trembled slightly. "You're insane." "I'm motivated. Different thing." Mac took a step forward. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to let Sophia go. You're going to surrender to the FBI, and you're going to spend the rest of your life in federal prison. Those are your options." "My options include killing this girl and walking out of here." "No, they don't. Because my backup just arrived." Kozlov's eyes flicked to the door. "You're lying." The window exploded inward. Flashbang grenade. The room erupted in blinding light and deafening sound. Mac had been expecting it, closed his eyes at the last second, covered his ears. When the blast faded, he moved. Kozlov was disoriented, stumbling. Mac closed the distance in 3 strides, struck Kozlov's gun hand, sent the weapon flying. Followed with an elbow strike to Kozlov's jaw. The Russian went down hard. FBI tactical team poured through the door. "Federal agents, hands up, now." Mac stepped back, hands raised, weapon on the floor. "Commander James McAllister, federal witness. The hostage is Sophia Martinez. Suspects are Victor Kozlov and Sergeant Thomas Holloway of San Diego PD." Agent Reyes entered, weapon drawn, taking in the scene. "Commander, I told you to wait. You were taking too long. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. And Sophia's alive. That's what matters." Reyes holstered her weapon, moved to Sophia, cut her restraints with a tactical knife. "You're safe now. Ambulance is on the way." Sophia collapsed into Reyes's arms, sobbing. "He was going to kill me. He said I was payment for my father's debt." "He's not going to hurt anyone ever again." Reyes looked at Kozlov, being handcuffed by tactical agents. "Victor Kozlov, you're under arrest for kidnapping, assault, attempted murder, and about 50 other charges we're still tallying. You have the right to remain silent." Kozlov spat blood. "My lawyers will have me out by morning." "Your lawyers are also under investigation. We raided your financial records tonight. found payments to 12 different law firms, 6 judges, and 43 police officers across 3 counties. RICO charges Kozlov. Federal. No bail. You're done. For the first time, Mac saw Kozlov's confidence crack. Real fear entered his eyes. Holloway was screaming, "I need a doctor! He shot me! Police officer down!" Reyes walked to him, looked at his bleeding hand. "Sergeant Holloway, you're also under arrest. Corruption, obstruction of justice, attempted murder of a federal witness. And by the way, you're not a police officer anymore. You're a suspect. Big difference." As FBI agents secured the scene, as paramedics arrived to treat Sophia and the wounded enforcers, Mac found himself sitting on the floor, adrenaline crash, hitting hard. Rex patted over, licked his face, concerned, loyal. "Good boy," Mac whispered. "You did good." Reyes knelt beside him. "You're bleeding." Mac looked down. He'd been grazed. Holloway's second shot had clipped his arm. He hadn't even felt it during the fight. "It's nothing. It's a gunshot wound. You're getting checked out." "After. I need to see Roberto. Tell him his daughter's okay." "Roberto's at the hospital. Head trauma. He'll live, but he's unconscious." Mac closed his eyes. "This is my fault. I pushed Kozlov, made him escalate. Roberto got hurt because of me." "Roberto got hurt because Kozlov is a violent criminal. You didn't make him violent. You just made him visible." Reyes helped Mac stand. "Come on, let's get you patched up. Then you're giving me a full statement about everything that happened here." The ambulance ride was a blur. Paramedics treated Mac's gunshot wound, through and through, no major damage, butterfly stitches and bandages. Sophia rode in the same ambulance, wrapped in a shock blanket, holding Mac's hand. "Thank you," she said hoarsely. "You came for me." "Of course I came. That's what—" Mac stopped himself before saying, "That's what SEALs do." Because he wasn't a SEAL anymore. Wasn't military. Was just a man who couldn't walk away from people in danger. "That's what friends do," he finished. Sophia's grip tightened. "Friends? Is that what we are?" "I'd like to think so. Friends don't usually storm warehouses and get shot for each other." Max smiled slightly. "Then we're really good friends." At the hospital, chaos. Roberto was in surgery, skull fracture, but surgeons were optimistic. Sophia was examined, treated for her injuries, given sedatives to help her sleep. The hospital buzzed with federal agents, police being questioned, media trying to get the story. Mac found a quiet corner in the waiting room, pulled out his phone, called his sister. She answered immediately. "You're alive." "Yeah." "You got shot. How did you—" "Because I can hear it in your voice. That exhausted thing you do after combat. Are you okay?" "Physically? Yeah. Emotionally?" Mac rubbed his face. "I'm tired, Jenny. Tired of fighting. Tired of violence. Tired of caring about people you just met and risking everything to save them." "Yeah, that." "Mac, that's not a weakness. That's who you are. That's who Dad and Mom raised you to be." Her voice softened. "You saved that girl. You took down a criminal organization. You made San Diego safer. That matters." 3 weeks ago, I was just trying to figure out how to be retired. Now I don't even know what I am. You're a protector. Always have been. Always will be. The only question is whether you fight that or embrace it. Max sat with that for a moment. Reyes offered me a job, FBI consultant, going after organized crime, using my SEAL training to help them build cases against people like Kozlov. Are you going to take it? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Wants the purpose, the mission. But part of me is terrified that I'll just keep putting myself in danger until eventually my luck runs out. Your luck didn't run out tonight. Your training kept you alive. Your courage saved Sophia. Your refusal to look away stopped a predator." Jenny paused. "But Mac, you don't have to save everyone. You're allowed to save yourself, too." "I'll think about it." "Good. Now get some rest. Call me tomorrow. And Mac, I'm proud of you." The line went dead. Mac sat in the waiting room, Rex at his feet, and let himself feel the weight of the night. The fear, the violence, the desperate calculation of shooting angles and threat assessment. The moment when Kozlov had put the gun to Sophia's head, and Mac had known, absolutely known, that one wrong move would end her life. He'd made the right moves, this time. But eventually, wouldn't he make the wrong one? Wouldn't he hesitate at the critical second, or misjudge a distance, or fail to see the threat until too late? Reyes found him an hour later. "Roberto's out of surgery, stable. Doctors say full recovery." "And the charges against Kozlov?" "Federal kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, witness intimidation, conspiracy to commit murder, plus the RICO charges for his organization. 43 counts of sexual assault. Money laundering, corruption of public officials." Reyes sat beside him. "He's looking at life without parole, and that's before we flip his associates and add their testimony." "Holloway?" "Singing like a canary. He's giving us everyone, judges, cops, city officials, the whole network, in exchange for reduced sentencing." "How reduced?" 20 years instead of life. He'll be 70 before he sees freedom again." Reyes looked at Mac. "You did this. You broke open a case we've been working for 3 years. You gave 43 victims justice. You freed an entire neighborhood from fear." "I just didn't look away." "Most people do. That's what makes you different." Reyes pulled out a folder. "Official offer. FBI consultant. Contract basis. We need someone with your skill set for organized crime cases. Someone who can go places we can't. Who can earn trust from communities that don't trust law enforcement. Who can recognize threats we might miss." Mac took the folder, but didn't open it. "I'll read it. Think about it. Give you an answer in a few days." "Fair enough." Reyes stood. "Get some rest, Commander. You've earned it." After she left, Mac finally opened the folder. Contract terms. Salary. Enough to get out of the motel, afford better than Menudo. Assignment details. Locations across California where organized crime networks operated. Places where people needed protection and traditional law enforcement couldn't provide it. It was everything he'd been trained for. Everything he'd spent 14 years doing in different countries, different contexts. Same mission, different uniform. Sophia appeared in the doorway, hospital gown, IV in her arm, but walking under her own power. "You should be resting," Mac said. "Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about," she sat beside him, "about how close I came. If you hadn't come, if you'd been 5 minutes later, 10 minutes, if you'd decided I wasn't worth the risk." "You were always worth the risk." "Why? You don't know me. We met today, yesterday. I don't even know what day it is anymore." Sophia's voice cracked. "Why would you risk your life for someone you just met?" Mac thought about how to answer that. About Afghanistan and the teammates who died protecting people they'd never met. About the IED that had ended his career because he'd stayed behind to cover their extraction. About the weight of living when others had died, and the need, the desperate, consuming need, to make that survival mean something. "Because if I don't," Mac said finally, "then what's the point? If I survive when better people died, if I have these skills and this training, and I don't use them to protect people who need protecting, then what was it all for?" Sophia took his hand. "You're a good man, Commander." "I'm just a man who couldn't walk away." "Same thing." They sat in silence, waiting for Roberto to wake up. waiting for the night to end, waiting for whatever came next. Eventually, a nurse found them. "Mr. Martinez is awake, asking for his daughter." Sophia stood, pulling Mac with her. "Come with me, please. He'll want to thank you." Roberto's hospital room was sterile, beeping monitors, IV lines, but he was conscious and alert. When he saw Sophia, tears ran down his face. "Mija, thank God. I thought they'd killed you." "I'm okay, Papa. Commander McAllister saved me. Saved both of us." Roberto looked at Mac, extended a shaking hand. "I can never repay you." "Don't need repayment. Mac hesitated. "Just be a good father. Love your daughter. Build your restaurant back. That's payment enough. The restaurant's destroyed. Equipment smashed. No way I can afford. FBI's seizing Kozlov's assets. Reyes said part of that will go to restitution for his victims. Your debt? Wiped out. And you'll get compensation for the damage." Max smiled slightly. "You're free, both of you. No more protection money. No more threats. It's over." Roberto wept. Sophia held his hand, crying too, but smiling through the tears. Mac excused himself, gave them privacy, walked out into the hospital hallway with Rex. The sun was rising, orange light through the windows. A new day. Mac felt it in his bones, the shift from darkness to light, from fear to hope, from being hunted to being free. His phone buzzed. Reyes. "Press conference at 9 a.m. DOJ wants you there. Media's calling you a hero." Mac texted back. "I'm not a hero. Just did what needed doing." That's what heroes always say. Be there. That's not a request. Mac pocketed the phone, looked at Rex. "What do you think, boy? Should we stick around? Keep fighting these fights?" Rex's tail wagged, enthusiastic, clear. "Yeah," Mac said. "That's what I thought too." He walked out of the hospital into the San Diego morning, toward whatever came next, knowing that retirement wasn't an end. It was just a new beginning. The press conference was chaos. Reporters shouting questions, camera flashes, microphones thrust forward like weapons. Max stood at the podium beside Agent Reyes and the FBI San Diego field office director, feeling more exposed than he'd ever felt in combat. At least in combat, the enemy was clear. "Commander McAllister, is it true you single-handedly took down Victor Kozlov's entire organization?" Mac leaned toward the microphone. "No. The FBI built the case over 3 years. I just provided additional evidence." "But you stormed a warehouse alone to rescue Sophia Martinez." "I wasn't alone. I had my canine partner. An FBI tactical support arrived shortly after." Another reporter pushed forward. "Sources say you were shot during the rescue. How does it feel to be a hero?" Mac's jaw tightened. "I'm not a hero. Heroes are the people I served with who didn't come home. I'm just someone who saw a young woman in danger and couldn't walk away." "Commander, what made you intervene at La Cocina del Mar? You're medically retired. You could have called the police." "The police were compromised. Sergeant Holloway was on Kozlov's payroll. If I'd called 911, Sophia Martinez would be dead." The reporters erupted. "Are you saying San Diego PD is corrupt?" Reyes stepped in. "What Commander McAllister is saying is that this investigation uncovered significant corruption at multiple levels. 43 officers across 3 counties have been arrested in connection with Kozlov's organization. But the vast majority of San Diego's law enforcement officers are honest, dedicated professionals." "How many victims were there?" 43 documented cases of sexual assault, 16 businesses under extortion. At least 7 suspicious deaths we're reinvestigating, And we believe there are more victims who haven't come forward yet. A female reporter in the front row stood. Commander, my name is Maria Chen. I'm Jessica Chen's older sister. Jessica was assaulted by Kozlov 6 months ago. She tried to report it but was ignored. Then she was attacked in her apartment and left San Diego. She's watching this press conference right now from Seattle. Do you have anything to say to her? Mac looked directly at the camera. Jessica, if you're watching, it's over. Kozlov can't hurt you anymore. He's in federal custody facing life in prison. And if you're ready to testify, the FBI will protect you. Your voice matters. What happened to you matters. And you're not alone. Maria Chen's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. She needed to hear that. After the press conference, Mac escaped to a quiet hallway, pulled out his phone, called his sister. You were good up there, Jenny said immediately. Calm, honest, very you. I hated every second of it. I know, but you gave hope to a lot of victims. That matters. Jenny paused. Are you taking the FBI job? I don't know. Part of me wants the mission. But part of me is terrified that I'm just running toward violence because I don't know how to do anything else. Or maybe you're running toward purpose. There's a difference. Before Mac could respond, Agent Reyes appeared. Commander, there's someone here to see you. Multiple someones, actually. She led him to a conference room. Inside, 15 women sat around a table, all different ages, backgrounds, but sharing the same haunted look Mac recognized from Sophia's eyes. Commander McAllister, Reyes said, these are victims of Kozlov's organization. They saw the press conference. They want to thank you. And they want to testify. Max stood at the doorway, overwhelmed. You don't need to thank me. An older woman, maybe 40, professional clothes, carefully controlled composure, stood. Yes, we do. My name is Linda Morrison. Kozlov assaulted me 3 years ago. I reported it to the police. Sergeant Holloway told me I was confused, that it was a misunderstanding, that pressing charges would ruin my reputation. I believed him. I stayed silent. Her voice cracked. And because I stayed silent, 42 more women were hurt. I have to live with that. That's not your fault, Max said. Kozlov is responsible for his crimes. Holloway is responsible for the cover-up. You're a victim, not a villain. But if I'd been braver, if I'd fought harder, you did what you could with what you knew. That's all anyone can do. Mac entered the room, sat down. I'm not special. I'm not braver than you. I just had training and backup you didn't have. That doesn't make me better. It makes me luckier. Another woman spoke up, young, maybe 19. My name is Carmen. Kozlov, he told me everyone went through it, that it was normal, that if I complained, I was weak. I believed him. I feel so stupid. You're not stupid. You're manipulated. There's a difference. Kozlov is a professional predator. He's spent 15 years perfecting his technique. He knows exactly what to say to make victims doubt themselves. Carmen wiped her eyes. Will you be there? When we testify. I don't know if I can face him alone. Mac looked at Reyes. She nodded. Yes, Mac said. I'll be there. All of you. Every testimony. You won't face him alone. The meeting lasted 2 hours. Each woman shared her story, each one adding another piece to the case against Kozlov. By the end, Mac understood the true scope of what they'd stopped. Not just 43 documented victims, but the hundreds more who would have been victimized in the years to come. After they left, Mac sat alone in the conference room, emotionally exhausted. Reyes brought coffee. You made a difference today, she said. Those women. Some of them haven't spoken about their assaults since they happened. You gave them permission to be heard. I just listened. That's more than most people do. Reyes sat across from him. Have you decided about the consultant position? If I take it, what's the first assignment? Oakland. Human trafficking ring disguised as massage parlors. Victims too terrified to come forward. Local PD suspects corruption, but can't prove it. We need someone who can go in, earn trust, identify the network. Same playbook as Kozlov. Exactly. And there are dozens more like it across California. Maybe hundreds. Men who think they're untouchable because they've bought protection. Reyes leaned forward. You proved they're not untouchable. You showed the predators can be caged. We need you to keep showing them that. Mac thought about the 15 women in that room. About Sophia's bruised throat. About Jessica Chen watching from Seattle, finally seeing justice. About all the victims who hadn't come forward yet, because they didn't believe the system would protect them. I'll take the job, on one condition. Name it. Every case I work, every victim I help, I want updates. I want to know they're okay, that they're getting support. The testimony led to conviction. I'm not just building cases. I'm protecting people. And I need to know I'm actually protecting them, not just catching predators. Done. We have victim services for exactly that. You'll get full updates on everyone you help. They shook hands. Mac felt something settle inside him. Not peace. He wasn't sure he'd ever feel peace again after Afghanistan. But purpose. Direction. A reason to keep moving forward. 3 weeks later, La Cocina del Mar reopened. The restaurant had been completely renovated. New equipment, repaired walls, fresh paint. But more importantly, the fear was gone. Customers packed the tables. Laughter filled the air. The smell of Roberto's cooking drifted from the kitchen. Max sat in his usual corner booth. Sophia brought him coffee without being asked. On the house, she said. For life. Dad's orders. You don't have to. We want to. You gave us our lives back. Free coffee is the least we can do. Sophia slid into the booth across from him. How's the FBI job? Good. Challenging. I leave for Oakland next week. Human trafficking case. I saw the news. Sophia's expression was serious. Be careful.
These people, they're just as dangerous as Kozlov.
I know, but so am I.
That's what worries me. You keep walking into danger like you're still in Afghanistan, like you're still trying to prove you deserve to have survived when your team didn't.
Max set down his coffee. Who told you about my team?
Agent Reyes. She said you hold yourself responsible for their deaths, that you think saving civilians is penance.
Sophia reached across the table, took his hand. Mac, you don't need penance. You need to forgive yourself. I don't know how. Then let me help. Come to therapy with me. I'm seeing someone for PTSD from the assault. She's amazing. Helps me understand that what happened wasn't my fault, that I didn't deserve it, that I'm allowed to heal. I'm not good with therapy. Neither was I, but I'm getting better, and you deserve to get better too. Before Mac could respond, Roberto emerged from the kitchen carrying a plate. Commander, I made you something special. Not menudo this time. Real food. The plate held carne asada, rice, beans, fresh tortillas. The kind of meal that cost more than Mac had budgeted for the week. Roberto, I can't afford. I said it's on the house. You saved my daughter's life. You saved my restaurant. You think I care about the cost of a meal? Roberto sat down, serious now. I want to tell you something. Before you came, I was ready to give up, to pay Kozlov whatever he wanted, to let him use my daughter however he wanted, just to make the pain stop. I was broken. You were surviving. No, I was surrendering. There's a difference. You showed me that. Roberto's voice thickened. You stood up when everyone else sat down. You fought when everyone else ran.
You proved that one person can make a difference. And because of that, 16 other business owners are free. 43 women have justice. An entire neighborhood isn't afraid anymore. Mac looked around the restaurant, saw families eating together, saw people laughing without fear, saw hope where there had been only despair. It wasn't just me. The FBI built the case, but you lit the fire. You made Kozlov visible. You made him vulnerable. You gave all of us permission to stop being afraid. Roberto stood, extended his hand. Thank you. From everyone in this neighborhood. Thank you for not looking away. That night, Mac returned to his apartment, not the motel anymore, a real apartment courtesy of his FBI salary. 1 bedroom, nothing fancy, but his own space. Rex had his own bed in the corner. They'd made it a home. Mac's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, then recognized the area code. Seattle. Hello? Commander McAllister? This is Jessica Chen. Maria, my sister. She gave me your number. I hope that's okay. Of course. How are you? Better. Watching Kozlov get arrested. Watching you save Sophia the way no one saved me. It helped. Made me feel like it wasn't my fault. Like I wasn't crazy for being scared. You were never crazy. You were traumatized. There's a difference. I know that now. My therapist keeps saying it. But hearing it from you, from someone who fought him and won, it means more. Jessica paused. I'm testifying. At the trial. Agent Reyes said it's in 6 weeks. I'm coming back to San Diego to tell my story. That takes real courage. No, courage is what you did. Storming that warehouse, facing him alone. I'm just finally doing what I should have done 6 months ago. You're doing it now. That's what matters. And Jessica, I'll be there. During your testimony. You won't face him alone. Thank you. That means everything. After she hung up, Mac sat with Rex, thinking about courage, about how people defined it. To the public, courage was running into danger. To victims, courage was speaking truth despite fear. To Mac, courage was getting up every morning and choosing to keep fighting despite knowing that violence would always find him. His burner phone buzzed. Reyes. Oakland case just escalated. Suspect murdered a potential witness. We need you there. ASAP. Can you leave tomorrow? Mac looked at Rex. The dog was already watching him, sensing the shift. Duty calls, boy. You ready? Rex's tail wagged. Mac typed back. We'll be there by noon. Send briefing materials. He packed that night. Not much. Clothing, tactical gear, Rex's food and supplies. The same drill he'd done hundreds of times as a SEAL. Different mission. Same preparation. Before bed, Mac called his sister one last time. Oakland already? Jenny said. You just finished the Kozlov case. Evil doesn't take breaks. Neither can I. Mac, you're allowed to rest, to process. To what? Sit around thinking about all the people I couldn't save? All the victims waiting for someone to help them? I can't do that, Jen. I can't be still. Not when I know what's happening out there. Then promise me something. Promise me you'll come back alive. That you won't throw yourself at danger until your luck runs out. I promise I'll be careful. That's not the same thing. It's the best I can offer. Jenny was quiet for a moment. Okay, but Mac, remember what Dad used to say. You can't save the whole world, but you can save the part of it right in front of you. Save Oakland, then come home. Rest, recover. Then save the next place. But stop trying to save everything at once. I'll try. That's all I ask. The next morning, Mac loaded his truck.
Rex jumped into the passenger seat, ready for whatever came next. As they pulled out of the apartment complex, Mac's phone buzzed one more time. Sophia. Safe travels. Come back soon. We miss you already. And Mac, thank you for showing me that monsters can be defeated. You changed my life. S. Mac saved the message, pulled onto the highway heading north. Oakland was 6 hours away. 6 hours to prepare mentally for another fight, another network of predators, another group of victims who needed someone to stand up when everyone else sat down. The radio played softly. Rex dozed in the afternoon sun, and Mac felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not happiness exactly, but something close. Contentment. The knowledge that his life had meaning, that his skills served a purpose beyond destruction, that surviving Afghanistan wasn't random luck, but preparation for this new mission. Protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. Hunting predators who thought they were untouchable. Giving voice to victims who'd been silenced. It wasn't the SEAL career he'd lost, but it was a mission worth living for. The truck 8 miles. The California landscape rolled past, and somewhere ahead, in Oakland, victims waited. Predators operated. Justice delayed, but not denied. Mac's phone buzzed with the briefing materials. He'd read them tonight at the hotel. Learn the players, identify the network, build the case. The same tactical approach that had worked in San Diego would work here. Because predators were predictable. They thought they were clever, untouchable, protected. But they all made the same mistake. They thought their victims didn't matter, that silence meant consent, that fear meant acceptance. They were wrong. And Mac McAllister, 35 years old, medically retired Navy SEAL, FBI consultant, protector of the broken, was going to prove it to them. One case at a time, one victim at a time, one predator at a time. Until the day came when evil finally learned that some men don't look away. Some men don't back down. Some men carry scars and dogs, an unshakable purpose into the darkest places. And those men, the quiet professionals, the protectors, the ones who chose courage over comfort, those men changed the world. Not with headlines or glory, but with action, with presence, with the simple, profound decision to see suffering and refuse to accept it. Rex lifted his head, looked at Mac, then settled back to sleep. Trusting, loyal, ready for whatever came next. Mac drove on toward Oakland, toward another fight, toward another chance to prove that justice wasn't just a word, it was a choice. And Commander James McAllister chose justice every single time. Because that's what protectors do. They don't quit. They don't rest. They don't stop fighting until everyone who needs protection gets it. That was Mac's mission now. Not in Afghanistan, not in Iraq, but here, in America. In cities and towns where evil wore suits and corruption wore badges. The war wasn't over. It had just changed uniforms. And Mac, with Rex at his side, victims depending on him, and purpose driving him forward, was exactly where he needed to be, doing exactly what he was meant to do. Protecting, fighting, refusing to look away, until every predator was caged, until every victim had justice, until every neighborhood could breathe free. That was the mission. That was the promise. That was the purpose that turned survival into meaning. And Mac McAllister kept his promises.